I absolutely forgot to open the chapter. That's why I didn't open this up yet. But here we are, hi! You can see me now, yay! Yes, it means play Persona 4 too. Yeah, I played Persona 4 3 FPS and I played Persona 2 and 5. But I played in a different order. It was like 4, 3, 5, 2 and now Persona 5 Royal. It's a strange thing to do, going back and forth, but that's how I played it. Are we ready for the Crystal Sage to appear? I remember there's gonna be a song, which is definitely not this song, which is playing right now. It's a little bit too not eerie, let's just say it's a little bit too happy for this. It sounds like you rolled random dice to find out which Persona game to play next. No, I just got Persona 4 the first. That's it. I didn't even hear about Persona before. Which is not really true because I played Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Survivor as well, but I didn't know that it was Persona at that point. Daddy! Akumaru is still the best animal companion, which is in P3. But we are not here to talk about Persona 5 or Persona 4 or 3. We are here to read Skydancer, the first flying unicorn. Are we not? This is gonna be a long read because it has 11,000 words. Yep. I have to get used back to this again. A little bit of delay. So let's see. Last time we traveled through time and through dimensions as well. Probably not dimensions, but we traveled far north with the main two. With the Doctor and Featherwind. They are just out in the frozen north. They are freezing to death. They didn't go out yet, but we have to go out because there is a crystal we need to find. It is a red crystal that is able to defeat the Puppet Master and the Dark King. Where is it? Somewhere. Thank you. We need the little fairy vision to help us with finding it. And obviously we need Featherwind for that. But let's just start reading it, because without reading we won't find out what is gonna happen. So let's see. Let's find something which should be fine. There you go. Chapter 16. The Crystal Sage. Let's see how loud it is. It's not loud, okay. The frozen north is a bleak land filled with cold and desolate ice. It is a land of emptiness, a land of endless stretches of white. It is a land of silence, other than the occasional cold whistle of the wind. A land where no pony roams, at least not for long. In this frozen world, my companions and I had the whole world to ourselves. This incredible isolation made me feel like we really were the last ponies on the planet. I even remember thinking, this must be what the end of the world feels like. Despite all this, I found peace and solace in this place too. The winds that blew there felt mostly natural, and there was just something cleansing about the snow to the soul. There was a purity here I rarely experienced elsewhere. It was even possible we were the first ponies to ever tread this exact spot. The whole experience felt otherworldly, and not entirely in a bad way, at least not for me. I could appreciate the beauty of nature in ways most other ponies could not. Aside from that, it was comforting to me to know that this time I did not tour this desolate nature all by myself. The fact there were so few of us out there made us feel all the tighter, all the closer together. There were many times I roamed ahead just to appreciate the silence all around us, but on the other hoof, when I did speak with my new companions, they often had some very interesting things to say, so the breaking silence was entertaining too. And that's how it works, the doctor concluded. To reiterate, this paper is a form of perception filter. It shows you whatever you expect to see. Although, that perception can be shaped by external stimuli. If I gave you a specific suggestion before I showed you the paper, then I planted that idea into your head before I flashed it to you. For example, let's say I approached you and told you that I was the building inspector of whatever building you happen to be standing in. After that moment, you would be thinking of building inspector, wouldn't you? So when I flash my quote-unquote credentials, you probably would be seeking whatever you would exactly expect a building inspector's credentials to look like, and voila! That's how the psychic paper works, my friend. It doesn't work with enemies who doesn't think. You are actually really lucky that the puppet master was comprehensible. It wasn't just a mindless killing machine. I see. That's very interesting. Featherwind sat back. Now let's broach another topic that's been bothering me. Pockets? Really? You have built-in pockets on your body? For the moment, Dr. Flash Derpy and amused grin behind him. All three girls were behind him and Featherwind at that moment. Some people are also trained to resist the influence of psychic paper. Oh yeah, that makes sense. He returned that amused grin to Featherwind. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm with you on that one. Back in the universe I originally came from, Aquarians do not normally have pockets on their flanks. Of course, they don't normally talk either. After 926 years of my age, that's a lot of... Wait, is that canon age? At that point? I don't know how long he has lived. It was infinity. My adventure still finds ways to surprise me, such as the discoveries I made since crossing over this pony universe. Whoa! Featherwind's eyes widened in shock, then he shook his head. 920? Okay, I'll find that one for later, but for now, please explain to me why you and Derpy are the only ones with built-in pockets on your flanks. Wait, Derpy has built-in pockets as well? I don't think so. Well, remember how I said originally I came from another universe, where Homo sapiens are more common sentient species? Featherwind nodded. The doctor went on. Well, during my journeys with my lovely assistant, apparently we flew through the whole universe once again, and crossed into another reality where ponies don't have pockets on their flanks. But in the original reality, they do. I guess they flew too close. We flew too close to the second star on the right, and flew on straight until the morning. Yes, she does. Now I see. Because it is just described why they have it. Not realizing the doctor was making a specific reference with that last sentence. Are you making a specific reference? I'm Featherwind right now. I'm not realizing you are making a specific reference. Featherwind took his word for it literally, and assumed flying through the curvature of the space at certain velocities could allow one to cross over parallel dimensions. Did not realize how close to the truth he really was. Doctor! Derpy called out behind them in concern. That prompted both Featherwind and the doctor to pause and look back at her. When she had her attention, Derpy went on. Second star on the right, and straight on till morning is supposed to be directions to Neverland. Oh. I would have never guessed that. Neverland? Oh. Well, we don't have that in Hungary. From Peter Pan. Well, I was around 6 when I watched Peter Pan last time. So, there is no wonder I don't realize it was from that. Doctor, I think she is sick. She doesn't look so well. Derpy announced in concern, while clearly indicating the young filly traveling with them. This caused the doctor and Featherwind to reverse their course and head back to the girls. Upon arrival, the doctor aimed his sonic screwdriver at Vision and waved it back and forth across her for a few seconds, while the device emitted a high-pitched buzz. When the sound stopped, he looked into the device as it extended upward for a moment, which revealed a new compartment. He stared at that for 2 seconds before nodding. Yes, she does have a fever, the doctor confirmed. Then we have to get back, Storming encouraged. She's just a filly. We can't leave her exposed to this harsh weather. No, Vision objected with unsteady stance. She wore a light blue cloak, had a wool hat on, a scarf with thick pants, yet she was still feverish. Her cheeks and the bottom of her eyes glowed red from illness, yet she was still determined to stay. We have to go on. We must find the red crystal, and we are drawing close to it. I can feel it. Vision gave us a smile. Besides, I kind of love this place. The snow is so beautiful. Beautiful? Storming inquired. But you can't even see it. I know, I can't, but I can hear it, the filly announced. To my ears, the snow tinkles like stars. It's so lovely. You can wish upon a twinkle. Suspecting that what Vision said was a sign of delirium. Derpy said, "Oh, Doctor!" Derpy hugged the little filly with her forehoofs and wings. "What are we going to do? She can't go on like this." Doctor tapped his lips with sonic screwdriver for a moment as he looked in the direction they were going. Then looked back at the young filly. When you say we are close, can you give us an approximate idea how close? Very close, Vision answered with a cold shiver. It's just over that hill up ahead, and somewhere down below it. What's wrong with her, Doc? Why is she so sick like this? Derpy asked. Why she asked? A bit bit of tears hung from her eyes as she hugged Philly tenderly. Besides the fact we are standing on a field of ice and snow? Starming pointed out. My best guess is that she has naturally fair constitution. The doctor guessed. Young Philly, would I be correct in assuming that you have never set a hoof outside the temple? You were raised in before? That's correct, sir. Well, there you have it. The doctor said with a shrug and curved diagonally appraised foreleg, bent at the joint. Wow, that's said with a shrug and curved diagonally appraised foreleg, bent at the joint. So this. The typical Drapping meme. Her immune system is not accustomed to dealing with these challenges, so it's more vulnerable than most bodies her age. So what are we going to do about it? Starming demanded a response in concern. I think for the moment you three girls stay here while Featherwind and I go on ahead and investigate the next valley in the search of the red crystal. The top proposed. In the meantime, hug her tightly and wrap both of your wings around her. Your shed body heat should help to keep her warmer until we get back. But you need me, Vision objected. I'm the only one that can sense the presence of the crystal. Not necessarily. For the moment, Doctor lifted up his sonic screwdriver to indicate it, then tapped his head with a hoof, then realized how stupid a visualization indication was to a blind filly. So instead, he decided to announce, I can have my sonic screwdriver intermittent sonic pulse, then listen to feedback. If you are correct and we are close to the device, then I should be able to narrow it down to the rest of the way with my handy dandy sonic screwdriver. With each blip we get, we should be able to narrow it down to the crystal itself. Jeez, is there anything that thing can do? Starming asked in impressed disbelief. Yeah, you have used it so many functions at this point that it's starting to feel like you are making it up as you go along. Yeah, he actually does. Just like my plans, the doctor announced cheerfully. Isn't that fantastic? Then why can't you make her hassy again with the sonic screwdriver? That's something you can do, right? Starming sighed with a roll of her eyes, then bent down and wrapped her wings and her body around Dappy's, which in turn was hugging the young filly from the other side. Well, it seems we got a sort of plan for now, so go, you two. We will keep the little one safe and warm. And loved, Dappy added very emotionally. The warmth of love melts any ice that keeps the Windigos at bay. Another reference to Heartwarming Day. So, there we have it. The doctor turned to look Featherwind. Come on, my friend. Onwards and upwards. With that, the doctor turned and trotted away. Featherwind followed but his gaze lingered on the grass in concern for 8 seconds, then looked back at the doctor while trotted faster to catch up. I found the typo! He asked upon arrival, are you sure it's safe to leave the girl? Are you sure it's safe to girls back there like that? You can fix this right now. I trust my companion, the doctor announced, a little seriously. He then regarded Featherwind. Do you have faith in yours? Of course I do. Featherwind announced fiercely. Starming has defended me more times than I can count. I trust her with my life. I know in my heart she will always protect me. But doctor, what about Vision? That question made the doctor pause. He stood still, staring ahead at nothing for a moment, then looked back at the 3 girls with a look of tender concern in his eyes, then regarded Featherwind the same way as he said, now that little one does concern me, but I have faith in us as well. We'll find the crystal and we'll come back for them as soon as we can. Fixed it! Yay! Or better yet, let's patch them up and leave them bothered together while we go and fetch the TARDIS itself after we retrieve the crystal, of course, in order to bring the TARDIS to them. That way they don't have to move, except to enter the TARDIS. How does that plan sound, my friend? Good, but I think I can do you one better. Padawan pulled off his mist-cloak and offered it to Doctor. After we retrieve the crystal, put this on and I will use the wind to blow you back to the TARDIS. Meanwhile, I will use my tactical abilities to keep up. Using this strategy, I can fly us back to the TARDIS, so we end up retrieving it even faster. I can't wait to see the Doctor just flipping and flopping in the wind, because he doesn't know how to use the mist cloak. Fascinating. Dr. grabbed and had the mist cloak. He watched as mist constantly poured down the cloak, but in this cold environment, it did it at a reduced rate. Eventually, he saw tiny flashes within the mist cloak, reminiscent of lightning storm. So you use this to glide through the eye like your hand glider? But he learns it very fast. Like everything, he learns everything very fast. And I don't know, he might have won a windsuit before. A gliding suit. In a human form. It's not that different. To tell the truth. And? Padawan reflected, then shook his head. Since he recognized the word glider, yeah, I did. Exactly. He had plenty of time to learn. Yeah. But don't you need this to fly? I have another strategy, but it isn't as efficient. Padawan answered. Still, it will be faster than trotting back to the TARDIS. Anything to reduce the time out there is likely to better. Good thinking, my friend. The Doctor cheered. I guess I will just put this on right now. I must say, I would be interested to see what it's like to glide through the air like on a magical mist cloak. It keeps me up at night, just thinking about it. Padawan chuckled at the Doctor's antics. This is louder than the other one. It's got to be somewhere around here, the Doctor declared with a fair amount of certainty. He spun his place, aiming his screwdriver forward. In every direction he aimed it. The signal never got stronger until it occurred to him to aim it downwards. When he did, he sighed. That was I was afraid of. Oh, I like that song from Tessa Symphonia. I actually wanna play this Symphonia. By the way. I know it's out of context right now, but I don't know if they released it or gonna release it on PS4. Well, if not, I can still use an emulator, but that's not gonna be the same thing. It's freezing down there. But the wind realized as he looked down at the ice. The Doctor scanned the area below him several times, then kept checking up the pop-up hidden compartment within his device. After doing this 3 times, he announced, "There is no doubt about it. This ice is 18 feet thick, but below that, the lake is still in a liquid state, albeit very, very, very cold temperatures." Yeah, because it's actually really true that if you have a very thick layer of ice. The water below it must be even more cold. Because ice only forms in temperatures between some set temperatures. And only on the top layer. Unless there is an active volcano under it. He sighed as he looked at his partner, then said, I should be the one to go. I have 2 hearts, so I can hold my breath longer. My body temperature can hold warmer for longer, and I can recover faster once I get out of the water. Doctor, you know that your heart has nothing to do with your lung capacity? But I can cast a spell on me that will hold the globe of air around my head. But having counted, I will not suffocate down there. Furthermore, I can use my horn to light the darkness. But I can use my sonic screwdriver to home in on the target. I should be the one to go. The doctor counter-argued. No lung, but it affects his blood flow. That's true, but he's speaking about holding my breath longer. This is what he said. I have 2 hearts, so I can hold my breath longer. You see the problem. You see why I can say objection to that. I see what you are going for, but yes, but I've been closed his eyes softly. I'm sure your device can do many amazing things, but I feel this one is my destiny. Kim Sung-ra is my distant ancestor. I should be the one to seek the crystal, and I am the only one that can connect with it. My spirit will guide my path. You can go together. You can create 2 puppies. With 2 hearts might mean there are more oxygen in his blood. That's true. But still, that's his blood. You need oxygen in your lungs as well. Unless you wanna suffocate. My mom made the same suggestion you did. Yeah, you need to breathe. It's not because you have 2 hearts, it's your lung capacity. That's what matters here. He definitely, I agree with you that he has probably much better lung capacity because of the 2 hearts, because he needs more oxygen. Not about going together, I mean. Oh yeah, they can just go together. There is no suggestion that they shouldn't. Besides, he opened his eyes again. I think I learned something from your device. Your device emits a sonic pulse, which it uses to vibrate things around it, and in order to produce an effect. Well, I think I can achieve the same thing with my horn. I will send out a sonic pulse as well, or a magical one. Either way, I can home in on the signal. It can guide me through the water, and I will use telekinesis to help prepare me to swim through this faster. You are so smart though. You won't be able to hold your body temperature for long. Doctor noted in concern. Only one of us should go. No. But I've insisted. The other should remain behind to ensure the girls remain safe. If something happens to me down there, one of us needs to make sure to head back to the TARDIS and fetch them. Between the 2 of us, you are the only one who knows how to pilot the ship. The doctor closed his eyes in pain, then opened them again as he looked in the direction of the girls. Hadavin realized he had the doctor there on that point. Then how about this? The doctor looked back at Featherwind. I will give you just 5 minutes alone. down there to find the crystal. Whether you succeed or not, unless you return to the surface first, we are heading out either way. We will fly back to the TARDIS, put the girls in there, then come back to this lake and make an attempt. If you fail the first time and after warming up first. I actually had a better idea than this, Quill. It's not for you to change the story, it's for them. When they stopped, because Vision was frail and ill, they could just head back to the TARDIS, come back with the TARDIS, and they can continue the search. It would have been much easier. And they would be safe in the TARDIS. But they wouldn't think about that because obviously the crystal is still so close. And then they could have gone together. I might have a spacesuit in the TARDIS that can make better second attempt. In that case, I wish I had that thought of the first time. But I didn't know we would be diving in a frozen lake. The Doctor put a hoof on Butterbean's shoulders. You will require a warm bath after this, but not too hot. I don't want to put too much of a system shock on you. While you are down there, you will feel like you are constantly being stung by tiny ice needles, but you need to hold your fast and your concentration. Why you are constantly being stung by tiny icy needles? He actually felt that before. Why he tried to levitate himself in the first attempts of flying. The world is counting on you. Its fate rests in your hooves. Hold tight to the idea of anything you love while you are down there. Realize while you do, you are never truly alone in this world. I know, Doctor. Padawan said in smooth, calm voice. Yeah, using psychokinesis. Yeah, but obviously going down in ice cold water will be much harder than actually just feeling. What did I want to say? It's gonna be much more extensive. Not extensive. What is the word I wanted to use? It's much worse. Intensive. That's the word I was searching for. Intensive. It's not gonna be just a bad feeling. It will be pain. And I know how ice works. It's let's just say, at first it will be ice cold, then it will start to burn. Need more to drink? No, I just drank my last cup of coffee. And not because I was thirsty or anything, I just wanted to drink it. Stopping point is coming soon too. If I need to drink, I still have some Coke right next to me. So, I don't have to go out. I know, Doctor. Padawan said in a smooth, calm voice. I have felt it many times in my life. I have heard it in songs ponies sing when they are down on a lock. I have seen it in amazing ponies that soar high in the sky. I have seen it in the princess with her radiant wings and hearts. There is plenty in my life that I cherish, and I shall not forget them as I fight for them with all that I have. Yeah, I'm prepared. Doctor grew a warm smile, then said after a few moments, Didn't you once say... Oh, that's the Doctor. Didn't you once say you tried to join the boards because you looked at them as heroes? Padawan focused on the Doctor. I never told you that, so you must have read it in your history books. Oh, overheard you when you said it while I stood in the background, the Doctor said with a mischievous swing. Anyway, look at you now. Look at you now. Fighting for what you believe in, and ready to give it your all. That is why I will succeed. Father Vince had determined me, as he looked down at the eye. I simply must. Well, the doctor lowered his hoop from Father Vince's shoulder. We will have to get to the water first. I will start matting the ice with my sonic vibrational pulse, and you start matting it with a laser beam from your horn. Wouldn't it be easier to mat it with actual heat instead of lasers? Father Vince grinned at the doctor in amusement. Light and sound working together as one? Indeed. The doctor agreed cheerfully, with a slight chuckle. Oh, that's actually pretty good for a deep down song. Down there, in the cold, empty abyss. It was like a cold day in Tartarus. Constant pain seared into my hide. It felt strange that something so cold could end up feeling like hot fire. It was agony. Oh, one more break soon. That's fine. And yes, I was right about the hotness of toilet. And you got it as well, okay. But all of my years of study, discipline, concentration, and spellcrafting helped me to prepare for this, but I had to draw on every ounce of my strength. My time with the Wonderbolts helped me to push myself beyond my limits and taught me there was a great strength in unity. My studies in my room, at my father's manor, helped me to focus on my problems, and not allow myself to drift away into distractions. I used to have a problem with that, as you recall. My head kept floating away into the clouds. It took a lot of effort to tether it to the ground. Then I thought of everyone I loved. Your mother came to my mind especially. I remember how she boldly stepped in front of me and spread her wings wide to hold the goblin invasion at bay. She would do anything to protect her friend and lover, and she would fight just as hard to defend ponies she didn't even know. She attacks with strength, but is never vindictive. Instead, she holds her own courage in her heart, doing what she does because she knows it's right. Then I thought of the Orchid family. I thought about Lady Hamilton as she hugged her husband and cried into his shoulder, wondering what in the world their family did to deserve in all this tragedy. I clearly remember thinking that they did nothing to deserve this, that this attack was truly unjust. I don't know if you realize why I'm smiling. This sounds like as if the final boss is trying to release his final attack against them that would kill them, and he is remembering all his friends and collecting strength to repel that last final attack. Which should definitely kill him. That actually sounds like it. Because friendship is magic. They had every excuse in the world to collapse in despair at that time. But I remembered what Uncle Brayburn said to his family. At the last moment, they looked back at their old farm. As long as we have each other, we are always home. Brayburn had once assured his family. They didn't give up when things got tough. They held to each other, picked each other up, and sang a song to cheer each other up. I see what you mean. What is this describing? What this is describing? Is he going through the difficult trial? And he has to draw on all his strength to help him. Also shows what he learned. Yep. That intense conviction of spirit was something that deeply touched my heart since that time, and in that moment, in the dark abyss, the warmth I felt from that moment dulled the pain around my body. I found it easier to concentrate. I felt like that family was down there with me, and once again, I better understood the doctor's words to me before I drove down there. He said no pony is truly alone in this world. The spirit of harmony flows through us all. So, in that moment, I channeled the essence of that spirit through me, to give me strength. The warmth of my heart warmed my body. Emotion is the fire upon which magic is drawn. It makes sense. Then the two would interact with each other. Though it was still a painful experience, I learned I had the power to do this through the strength of a warm spirit. You could also probably cast a warmness spell, but probably that's gonna be too much concentration. They do have heat spells, don't they? As promised, I kept sending a pulse into the water. Water conducts a sound very well and carries it further. As I got the echo feedback, I steadily drew a map in my mind. It was kind of breathtaking actually. Towers of crystal eyes were all around me. I would have marveled at it more if it wasn't so painful to be down there. In their own way, it was so beautiful. If he did, that would quickly make it so that he didn't need light concentration. If the spell exists, it doesn't necessarily mean that Featherwind knows it. At least not yet. Now, after this, he will research it. That's for sure. If he knows it, he would use it. That's for sure. So that means he doesn't know it. After this experience, he will research it, and next time they come to a place like this, he will know how to tackle it. Yeah, I can see the motive. That taught me I could find beauty even in the darkest and most isolated place in Equestria. The spirit of discovery entered me, and truth to be told, I never quite the same. That's what I was missing. I was like, wait, what? I never quite the same? No, I just didn't see the boss. I was never quite the same again. Because experience makes a lot of learning happening. Because obviously, he started learning magic more obviously because of his father tearing apart his song. Because he couldn't repair it with his own. He definitely wanted to learn that spell. Yes, experience the best teacher. Rodon said that too. I mean, he never thought he would be in a place like this. I mean, he wanted to fly, that's true. But he never thought he would go far north to that, because I'm pretty sure the Wonderbots wouldn't go here. So he didn't need a warmness spell, because he never thought he would use it. But one pulse came back different than the others. It radiated magical signature, and as I drew closer, it emitted its own reddish glow. This was the red crystal, and it was encased in ice. This was both good news and bad news for me. Good news that I found what I sought, but bad news that I had to fight a little harder to get to it. The reason for the one that wants to go up there. Nobody there to rescue or entertain. Unless to train. They can go here to train. In harsh weather. Because they do that from time to time, don't they? To extend their limits. My concentration was taxed enough as it was, but I fought harder to pull that invisible strength. Strength that was beyond my perception at the time. And that's why he is not dying right now, because as he said, he's training with the Wonderbots. Made him more strong, let's just say it like that. he is not as fragile as he was. True, I could use it for training. You would think higher suits are also cold. Yeah, but it's different kind of cold than the cold water. And also wind. I just say it like that. That if he, I didn't even realize that he is using wind as his signature move. He is propelling forward with wind tunnels. That means if physics is happening, that means he is traveling on cold wind because he's making the hot wind go up and the light and the cold wind is taking its place. So he's a little bit more resistant to cold than other ponies because he's used to it. Although this is much more cold than that. My concentration was taxed enough as it was, but I fought harder to pull it invisible strength that was beyond my perception at the time. I shot a constant beam of energy at the ice. Down there, in the cold depths, it took a while for the ice to even warm up, let alone to start melting. Smaller body is another factor though. Yeah, that's true. Kinda. He gets cold a little bit faster. But he can warm up faster as well. The whole time I felt like I was fighting at the edge of my life, and somehow I had to keep on pushing it. It reminded me of the time the roof of the house collapsed on a flimsy force field, and I heard it crackling, ready to give at any moment and crush me to death. Down there, it almost felt as urgent, except the fate of the world was at the stake. I had to win this, no matter how hard I had pushed myself. The ice crackled as I continued my efforts. The crack spread more as it steadily became liquid, but my efforts didn't even scratch the red crystal. It stood immune to the laser. I eventually plunged my hooves into the burning liquid and touched the crystal. A brilliant pulse of energy shot through me, and the white flash assailed my eyes. When my vision focused, mysteriously, I was somewhere else. And now we will meet the Crystal Sage. I have a feeling about that. As I remember last time you asked if of what I think the Crystal Sage means in the title. So let's see. Featherwind shook his head to clear it. It soon realized his environment was no longer painfully cold. In fact, he was no longer in the water at all. He was on solid ground, very flat, solid ground. He looked at it and realized in astonishment that it was made of crystal. He looked around and discovered he seemed to be in an entire city made of crystals. Featherwind was awed at the sight. He floated up to a standing position as he continued to look around. It was true. The streets, the buildings, the lamps, the benches, everything. It was made of crystal. Different colored crystals. Crystal for some things in relation to each other, but still crystal. Is crystal plural? On its own? I don't actually know because we always used crystals. No, that one didn't need plural term. Okay, I was just curious if it's plural or nothing, or anything. The lighting of the environment was also strange. It had a rainbowish hue, but it wasn't bright. It was like daylight, if it was very cloudy. Cloudy enough to make the day seem much darker. That drew his attention upward, and once again he gasped in astonishment. Streams of rainbow flowed far above him, like a colorful river of light in the sky. All those streams met up in a central point, a towering castle of crystal, which seemed to be in the exact center of the entire area. The rainbow lights met up at the tip of the castle. The lights shined like an aurora borealis. It shifted back and forth as it changed colored hues. What is this place? Featherwind asked in amazement, but deep in his heart he had a strong inkling. Oddly, it even felt familiar. Then mysteriously, a beautiful music sailed up into the air. The voice was that of a mare, who sounded positively angelic. The song she sang had no words, just ever-changing pitch. The music swam through the air, lighting up his soul. Just then, he suddenly realized he had his mist cloak on. Wait, no? Wait. Oh. But that should be impossible. I was like, yeah, that should be impossible. He loaned it to the doctor before he dove down into the water. And yet, here it was, mysteriously on his back again, as it belonged there. My wings! They are back! Lots of crystals! The music had an intoxicating draw to it, but it did not feel like Siren's call. Featherwind noted how his mind wasn't muddled, and he also realized he could ignore the song and resist the call if he really wanted to. There was nothing compulsory about the music at all. It was just beautiful voice that sang in the air. Nothing menacing about it at all. Yeah, that's what they all said. Because even the siren song had nothing menacing about it at all. At least for the ones who heard it. More to the contrary, in fact, the music felt soothing and very loving. It felt like a song of a pony who was deeply channeling her emotions, giving the song an analytic purity to it. Beyond that, it did have an ethereal echo to it, which made it sound highly unlikely to be sung from a living pony. More and more, an angel really did sound close to the mark. Featherwind took off into the sky, then hovered there for a few minutes delicately. Question: Featherwind, how does Featherwind knows of an angel? Isn't an angel for ponies should be a Pegasus? Because for us humans, it's a winged man or winged woman, obviously with a halo. But again, huh? I took a good question then. Featherwind took off to the sky, then hovered there for a few minutes delicately. While suspended, he slowly spun about in the sky as he surveyed the portals of the Crystal City as he was in. That sounds like something a Minecraft player would do with their elytra after building their city. The place had an amazing feel to it, and amazing architecture, but one thing felt terribly wrong about it, besides the grey skies. That was the fact that the city was totally empty. Who would build a city this large and populated by no pony? That was such a waste. No pony would go through this much effort to build something and simply abandon it, but that was the evidence before his very eyes. He's singing on another hoof, indicating something else. It sounded like at least one pony was here to sing out that painfully beautiful song. It was hard to pinpoint the source because it seemed to swim all around him, but flying in certain directions made the sound louder compared to other directions. Using that guide, he narrowed his search down to the large crystal building. At first, the doors were shut, but one delicate push later, that circumstance changed. Since the song sounded even louder within, Featherwind ventured in. What he saw inside the building made him pause, having lost his breath for the third time in the recent history. This building was several stories tall, full of books. This was an incredible library that time forgot. Featherwind spun about, feeling dizzy and overwhelmed by the majesty of what he witnessed there. All that knowledge, all those wonderful stories, they deserved to be read by some pony. To do otherwise would be a disservice to all those noble authors. As Featherwind flew to the library, he eventually did encounter one other pony within, but definitely not what we expected to see based on the sound of music. This pony was towards the back of the library, who seemed to be staring up into the stained crystal window. What really threw Featherwind's expectations off was that this was a male pony, but the voice that sang through the air was clearly feminine. What? Some male singers can sing really feminine voice. They have such falsetto that you cannot even say if it's male or female. The more he studied the situation, the more he realized that his pony was not the one singing. The song emanated near his area, but not directly from where he sat. It can also be a disc that's playing to a gramophone or something. I'm gonna drink something. Why the doggos are going crazy because someone is coming. In fact, the voice did not seem to be a source at all, leaving it totally disembodied. The pony in question was deep grey in color, with a black mane. He wore nothing but a red scarf tied around his neck. He seemed very forlorn, especially at that moment. He sat there listening to that hauntingly beautiful song. It is sombre in his younger age. That song instantly stopped when Featherwind landed behind the other pony, the side hoof clump sound. The other pony in front of him grew alert and looked over his shoulder at Featherwind. Because of that, Featherwind could see more details of the grey pony, such as the sideburns down the side of his face or the deep crimson eyes. I don't remember his voice at all. And he is not yet. At least this form of his is definitely not either. Who are you? The pony menaced in a hard tone. He flashed for a moment, then suddenly he was right in front of Featherwind's face. How did you get in here? Nobody can get in this sanctuary. Explain yourself. I don't know how I got here, Featherwind said, flabbergasted. I simply touched the red crystal and it somehow transported me here. The rare grey stallion calmed down, a little bit as curiosity and surprise shifted into his eyes. You found the red crystal? That seems dangerous. Isn't it the bottom of the frozen lake? Yes, Featherwind answered. That's where I was before I got here. And that's where you still are, the dark grey stallion said more firmly. Go back, go away. This is a forsaken place. Your physical body is still down there drowning in that frozen lake. Go back before I get another pony hurt. The last sentence he said cracked a bit due the deep regret. Who are you? Featherwind asked in intense curiosity. If I'm still in the lake and drowning, then my mind must be inside the red crystal. And if that's true, then... Featherwind's eyes widened in astonishment. Oh my Celestia, are you Sombra? Arf. You can hear the goes. The dark grey stallion's eyes popped open with shock upon hearing that name. Then he teleported right in front of Featherwind's face and bore down the hard on top of him. How did you hear that of that forsaken name? The dark grey stallion roared. No pony alive should be aware of that name. Oh. The dark grey stallion bore into Featherwind so much that he fell over backwards on his back. My uncle told me that name, Featherwind explained. He seemed to indicate that our family might be descended from him. Descended? The grey stallion looked taken aback. You are my family bloodline. So it is you. You are King Sombra. Featherwind realized in amazement. No! The grey stallion listened to the roar, then calmed down as he said sadly, while closing his eyes. Both his head. No. I know. He repeated in depression. I no longer go by that name. Not since he tainted it. He? Featherwind asked in confusion as he crawled up to the stand, to stand on his 4 legs again. He who? He who? He who? It sounds like a song. Apartment. My other half. The dark stallion explained, in the same, in shame, as he shifted his head to the side. My dark counterpart, the one who took over my body and left me for dead. So there are actually 2 Sombras, Featherwind realized, and you are the good half. You are what's left of this ponyhood. As I said, in shame, I no longer wear that name. If you must call me my something, call me by the name of my original profession in life before I get corrupted. Call me Crystal Sage. Crystal Sage looked at Featherwind. It's also less confusing than distinguishing between 2 Sombras. He said acidly, he is King Sombra, and I am what is left of his true self. Clarify something for me. Featherwind requested. Is this King Sombra a truly foreign entity that invaded your body, or... kind of? The answer to that question is complicated. Crystal Sage said. Right after that sentence, he suddenly vanished. Featherwind had to search around for a moment before he saw the dark stallion pulling books off the shelves with a red telekinetic aura. Much like Featherwind's father actually. Then vanish again. Looking around further, he saw the Crystal Sage putting even more books off the shelf. Then vanish off to reappear in front of Featherwind and drop the books in front of him. Here, Crystal Sage declared, the answers you seek are in these books. Take it and leave me in peace. Featherwind looked back at the books, tempted, then said, No. He looked at Crystal Sage. You said I am still out there drowning in the frozen lake, so I don't have time to read all these books. Just tell me in few sentences what happened to you. You are not in any immediate danger. Crystal Sage assured as he vanished and reappeared in a sitting position where Featherwind first discovered him. Once again, he was looking up at the crystal window again. Time flows differently in here than it does in the other side. It's subjective. You could finish all those books if you want, and not even 1 second has passed to the outside. Or you can make it so 1 second here equals 1,000 years out there. It doesn't matter. It finally occurred to Featherwind that Crystal Sage was not teleporting using magic. If both of them are just a thought in here, then maybe Featherwind could do that too. Actually, if he stays here for 1,000 years and 1 second passes on the outside, his body would still be his own body. That was the problem with the time chamber in Dragon Ball, that if they went in and trained for 10 years inside, which would be an hour outside, they came out to 10 years older. But here, it's only his mind that is inside. So he can learn everything he wants, go out and have the knowledge of the doctor. Let's just say it like that. Not the exact knowledge because he didn't travel to dimensions and time, but he can learn everything from the Crystal Empire's library. Can he not? If he doesn't take on this chance, then he is stupid. He tried to concentrate, then appeared in front of and facing Crystal Sage, who subsequently narrowed his eyes at Feather Wind. Go! Crystal Sage cried out insistently, then said much more sadly, leave me to my sorrows. Yep. You are already seeing some parts of the situation. He's saying so many different things. Go away, because you are in danger, but you are not in danger, but go away. Right now. I can't. I need your help. Need you help me with your dark counterpart? Crystal Sage narrowed his eyes at Feather Wind. What do you mean? King Sora has a weekend, and has been busy, very busy out there in a very naughty way. I think he corrupted a pony named Toybox and turned him into Puppet Master. He's just depressed. I think he corrupted a pony named Toybox. Oh, I heard that. Through him, King Sora has been gathering dark energy for some reason. Me and my friends think that he is trying to resurrect himself and bring back the Crystal Empire. Without you. Featherwell leaned his head back as he said, by the way, that reminds me, is that where we are right now? Is this the Crystal Empire? This is not the actual Crystal Empire. It is only a mental facsimile of it, born from my mind. Crystal Sage sweat, then teleported to a standing position without moving from his spot. So, let me get this straight. You are here to gather the Red Crystal and my sage advice to defeat the servant of he who is, and of who he is. Isn't it? Isn't it what you want to say? No, he who is. I think, yeah, it sounds much better if you, of who he is. Getting darker. Wait, what? Got a Red Crystal and my sage advice to defeat the servant of. Oh, you want to say you are here to gather the Red Crystal and my sage advice to defeat the servant of his who is gathering dark energy. That's what you want to say, right? I never heard it like servant of he. Right. Puppet Master is no longer alive, I'm admitting. He's an animated corpse of his own former body, albeit corrupted. We can't even hurt him. It is said he's powered by a black crystal somewhere within his body, and he is using that to gather dark energy from terrorized ponies. He's been doing it for years too. Not even Celestia knows how to for this. Recently, however, I encountered a young oracle who told me the secret to defeating the black crystal is this one, the red crystal. She said this crystal houses the last of your good essence. Considering whom I am currently talking to, I can verify that what she told me is correct. The question is, does his other side knows what this side knows? Do they share knowledge? Not feelings, knowledge. They are still one being, after all. Have to see. Yeah, that was a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer that. Crystal Sage turned his side and gazed at his own cutie mark. His allowed Featherwind to view it for the first time. It was a red crystal, which split into 3 separate points from a single base. That's it, isn't it? Featherwind realized. That's where we are. That's where we are standing right now. The red crystal is a physical manifestation of your own cutie mark. This place is an extension of your innate talent. Crystal Sage continued to stare at his mark for a few more seconds, then gave a slightly suspicious look to Featherwind. Who are you? I get that you are family relation, but who exactly are you? What's your name? Me? I'm Featherwind. Featherwind answered. And I am the first recorded flying unicorn in history, at least in known history. Flying unicorn? Crystal Sage asked, with an amused smirk. That must be a remarkable talent. Thank you for saying me. I'm now giving this knowledge to my other self. I am not good either, by the way. Exactly, Featherwind agreed. The sky is my passion, sir. Check this out. Featherwind shows Crystal Sage his own cutie mark. I've always been one with the sky, sir, and I ever made this cloak to help me get there. I can make myself as light as a feather. I can control the weather without using my magic. I can communicate vast distance using only the wind. Crystal Sage bowed his head with a fond grin. It's nice to see my family legacy is making something other than dark stain in the history of Equestria. You do me proud. He sighed, then focused back on Featherwind with serious and grim expression as he said, How long have I been gone? How long has the crystal remained at the bottom of the lake? Featherwind turned to face him fully again, and thus hiding his own cutie mark. Near as I can figure, about 900 years? 900 years. Crystal said echoed in quiet, stunned astonishment. Has it really been that long? How long does it feel to you? Featherwind asked. I don't know. Crystal Sage shook his head. A long time. What I said before. Time is subjective here, so it really doesn't matter. What matters here is that 900 years passed outside this place. Wait. I just realized time is subjective in that place. That means it can go backwards as well. It's a time machine. It's the early stage of the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside. It's a small crystal. It's the early TARDIS. There you go. Oh, now there is a thought. What matters here is 900 years passed outside this place. Crystal Sage looked to the side with a very thoughtful and disturbed look to his face. That means he has 900 years to advance his plot. If you go back time before Featherwind touched the crystal, then he has no way out of it. Oh yeah, because wait, that's different because it's a little bit different because their bodies are not inside. It's just mind. But he can still fly about in let's get back to the heartwarming episode. He can be a ghost, looking everywhere, searching the history. Just his mind. Look through what is gonna happen. He can be the new vision. He can see one of the futures. He can see the past. With this. Damn! He closed his eyes and bowed his head. I have been idle for far too long. Krista's sage focused back on Featherwind as he explained. In there, he can teleport too without casting a spell. I didn't know if he casted a spell or not. Because he concentrated, it's basically the same with casting as casting a spell. But without expanding stamina, that's what you mean. Krista's age focused back on Featherwind as he explained. I'm sorry to say I cannot help you directly, or to say I won't. If I wanted to, I could take over your body right now and use it to work my magic in the wide world, but I won't. I refuse to go that far, but in this case, that limits my options. In there, you can just will yourself whenever you want. Well, isn't that how it works in teleportation? Well, if it was that easy, then everybody would be able to teleport. Not even unicorns, but everybody else. But that is the basic of teleportation. You have to know where you want to be, and you have to will yourself wherever you want to be. But there are more extended features that needs to be done on teleportation. Actually, no, that spell is implied to be complicated. Yep, it is much more than that. And you need a lot of magical power to it, because the further you travel, the more magical energy you have to expand. And also there is the the problem with teleportation. If you try to teleport in somewhere where there is something else or somebody else, there might be some complications. Like it has been hit on in some other sci-fi. There. What is this music? Maybe the distance is not a factor due to the method they use to get there, like flooded space. Yeah, but still, it just feels much easier to travel small distances, or let's say much safer. Because obviously you need to know where you are going. If there's somebody and you teleport right in their body, there's gonna be a bloody mess. And let's just switch this music because I feel like this is not the perfect for the thing that's going on. Cut our stairs. There you go. It's fine. I am just a ghost here, Featherwind. Just a memory of a long forgotten age, which should be forgotten. What I can do is teach you what I know, and you can access the magic of the crystal, since you seem to have some attunement to it. But to reach its full potential, it will require a lot more practice. That's perfect that you can barely hear it. It doesn't have to be loud at all. What happens if I do? The magic of this crystal is the same magic I had in life. Crystal Sage and Sword. It's currently composed of a very similar crystal as the crystal heart itself, but far less powerful because only one pony so far has charged this crystal. In time, you can use this crystal like a second horn, except the magic of this crystal draws upon my Cutie Mark talent instead of your own. If you use this crystal and your own potential to its fullest, then you will effectively have 2 Cutie Mark's talents. Yeah, Mr. is to go over that in teleportation. That we might read later. Even had the villain teleporting into the wall. Wow. And this line right here. In time you can use the crystal like a second horn. Are you implying that Starbreeze is gonna implant this into her head as a horn? Are you implying that? Probably not, but that's what it sounds like to me. Because she is gonna get this crystal later on in the present. Wow! Featherwind widens his eyes. That would be impressive. Well, that would be new. That would be news. That would be interesting. That would interest her. Indeed. I will also be around to teach you how to use my powers. And if you wish, I can teach you what I know about the crystal science. It can help you forge some of the most powerful magical items, like the crystal heart, or even this entire kingdom. Crystal Sage waved around him. Both extend from the same principles. That's why I studied here. How would these skills help me to defeat Puppet Master? Crystal Sage grinned as he explained. Because the knowledge I can give you can help you dispel the magic of this crystal at its source. If you become adopted at crystal magic, as once I was, you will understand the science behind the source of this power. With that knowledge, you can disenchant or even reverse the crystal that powers him. That in turn will defeat him once and for all. That sounds fantastic! Featherwind said in relief. I have some questions for you though, if you don't mind. How in the world did this happen to you in the first place? How has there become 2 of you? Crystal Sage sighed as he looked down and admitted, to be honest, I don't exactly understand what happened to me either. All I know is that there is a force out there, somewhere, that is adapted to corrupt the magical sphere. Now, I thought about it for a lot over these long years, and it's left certain impressions on my mind. There's this tingling sense in my throat right now that I'm gonna clear my voice. It seems this force, whatever it is, stems from beyond our realm. It seems to me as if Belle is sentient. It's more like a rabid animal, thrashing about on raw savage instinct alone. Wow! What did I say about psychic paper? That it wouldn't work about raw savage instincts? Until it contacts the body from our world. Crystal Sage focused on Featherwind. That's why it's drawn to us. Through us, this dark forge. Okay, just a second. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let's see, how much longer do we have? Yeah, I can hear my voice cracking a little bit. Thank you, King Sombra. Oh, Crystal Sage. And there it goes. Through us, this dark force gains temporal sentience. Through us, it gains the ability to make more complex strategies. I am not the first to be infected by this dark entity. There have been others long before me, and quite long after me as well. Crystal Sage teleported away. Featherwind looked about and discovered Crystal Sage pacing closer to the crystal window. There are lots of crystals. Featherwind privately wondered if that was the first time he saw Crystal Sage use his legs to trot instead of teleporting about. My name was Sombra, and I was the Crystal Sage. I studied the magic of crystals my whole life, ever since I discovered my cutie mark talents, which, I might add, was a very early age. I was considered the prodigy of my time, and I used that talent to further crystal magic knowledge as far as I could. Okay, I guess I'm not gonna force this voice right now, because obviously due to the little bit of code I have, it's not gonna be good for my throat. So I'm gonna throw away that voice. I'm sorry about that. But yeah. It's not actually hurting me, it's just what is it? How do I say it? It's like a tingling thing, like magic, as how you described it. It's tickling my throat. Let's just say it like that. I was considered a prodigy of my time, and I used that talent to further crystal magic knowledge as far as I could. No, it's just normal talking is doing that to me right now as well, so it's not the voice itself. It's just a little bit harder, but something is on my throat right now, and that is tingling me. Not the actual voice itself. I was drawn to the Crystal Empire in order to further my research. Before me, there used to be a Crystal Queen, who was ruled over the Empire with love, light, and benevolence. I was humble servant of hers, and because of my expertise in crystal magic, she appointed me to the title, the Crystaller. I always wanted to say Crystallier. Crystal Sage posed in pacing and looked at Featherwind. Are you familiar with the crystalling ceremony? I can't speak. Featherwind shook his head. Most traditions in the Crystal Empire, and indeed the entire empire, are lost to history. I only know small bits and pieces. What about the Crystal Heart? What do you know about that? Crystal Sage inquired further. I know that the Crystal Heart is an artifact of great power. It is said to be the source that helped protect the Empire from winter storms. That's an understatement. The Crystal Heart is far more than that, my friend. It is the end result of Clover the Clever's research. Surely you must have heard of Heartswarming Eve? Yes, of course. It has been said a lot of times. Crystal Sage stomped a hoof on the ground. The frozen north is where the Wendigos originally come from. and they are still there. They are waiting to prey on any pony who has ice in their hearts. Clover the Clever discovered a spell that repels them. Oh, that's him, still him. Clover the Clever discovered a spell that repels them. It in turn draws upon the worms and caring of individual ponies. Later on, it has discovered that the spell could be channeled into more permanent form. Crystal Sage resumed pacing as he continued to lecture tone. Hence, the Crystal Heart. The sage eventually came about the research of Clover the Clever's discoveries, and realized that crystals could channel that energy into more permanent form. Even more permanent form? If this could be done, then it could help to expand love and light in Equestria beyond any standards we have at the time. It was you, wasn't it? Featherwind realized. You created the Crystal Heart. By Celestia, that's ironic considering what King Sombra did with later. Crystal Sage paused and sighed. What he did with it later. He repeated, then added, surely he wouldn't have destroyed it. That would undermine the very thing he's trying to accomplish, world domination. If he wants to keep a hold over the Crystal Empire, then he would hide the heart, not destroy it. Crystal Sage looked at Featherwind. I assisted in the construction of the Crystal Heart, but not even I am powerful enough to make an object that mighty. What really makes the Crystal Heart special is that it channels the warm feelings of many separate ponies and puts it in what essentially is a container. Using that energy, not only could it protect the Empire, but heal it many other ways. It can spread life, freedom, and joy to our ponies who bask under its brilliant rainbow light. So, that means it can do the exact opposite as well. In that case, you also help with the formation of the Crystal Empire itself. Featherwind realized. Before the construction of the Crystal Heart, it was not safe to live here, in the frozen north. Jeez. Oh. Jeez, just how old are you? The secrets of the crystals reveal many promising gifts. Was all Crystal Sage would say on that matter. Anyway, he resumed, pacing. So yes, I will admit, I helped forge the Crystal Empire. I know every street and building in this place, like the back of my hoof. I even know this place better than the one who ruled it, because I helped to construct it in the first place. The Queen was instrumental in inspiring her subject to peace, love, and happiness. Periodically, we would all gather and fuse that energy to the Crystal Heart, and thereby make it stronger. The one who organized the ceremony was known as the Crystaller, so in other words, that was my job. One of the many, in fact. I conducted the ceremony every year that infused all who gathered there with a brilliant crystal code. Because I understood the science behind the Crystal Heart like no other, I was deemed the most fit for the job. For a long time, life was good. But over time, I noticed disturbing patterns repeated at our borders. Something dark was attempting to sneak in, probably drawn by the light of the Crystal Heart, and all it influenced. The darkness was hungry, and it wanted to expunge the light, or corrupt it. I was called to investigate many times, because it had tendency to infect other crystals. I should have been more cautious, however, because one day it infected me, during one of my attempts to purge it. Ever since then, a darkness grew in my heart, and it corrupted my magic. In an attempt to slow the infection, I poured my magic into a crystal container. That crystal turned more and more black every time I did it, but eventually I noticed that the more I did, the weaker my magic became. The dark essence I channeled into the dark crystal was gaining magic at the same rate I was losing it, so eventually I decided to comfort it directly. Crystal Sage paused and sighed. That didn't go well. We fought right here. As a matter of fact, up above the frozen lake. When I lost my evil side. Are you referencing that one? Fan-made video? As a matter of fact, about the frozen lake. When I lost my evil side, he took over my body until it was later defeated. Either way, I still remain dead. Yes, a tale of one shadow. Luckily I saw that. With that one, I think. Yeah, I was shown that. When the Crystal Empire happened, after that happened. Crystal Sage paused to look at Featherwind. What I've done here in this red crystal was my last ditch effort to preserve myself. Maybe I had originally planned and hoped this crystal would be discovered, so I could encourage the user of this crystal into acts that would help to redeem myself. Oh, it was you! I remember someone showing it to me. I didn't know who it was. It's been such a long time here. I don't remember all the plans anymore. I guess somewhere along the way I forgot why I did it and wallowed in misery here. What is your plan? Featherwind asked. How can I help you to redeem you? Crystal Sage vanished and appeared a few feet in front of Featherwind, which was a bit startling for Featherwind. Facing the young pony, as he said, King Sombra and I do share one goal, but our methods differ, and our agenda is after that also differ. One thing we both have in common, however, is that we both want to return the Crystal Empire. Do you know where it is? Featherwind checked. The real Crystal Empire, I mean. I do not have King Sombra's memories after we split apart, but based on what I know, and what he would be willing and able to do, my best guess is the Crystal Empire is stuck in limbo. He could actually just rebuild. He can just come out and rebuild the Crystal Empire. That is actually a good thing, in a way. Time does not pass like it does in the physical plane. Every pony stuck there would not notice the passage of time, so if they ever return, it will be as if no time has passed for them. But until they do return, they are stuck in virtual non-existence. At least, that means they are not suffering in the meantime, but they definitely deserve a better fate. Crystal Sage trotted a little closer to Featherwind. He bore him a letter again as he proposed. I will help you against Puppet Master, and even my evil counterpart if I have to, on one condition. You must promise me to do everything in our combined power to bring the Crystal Empire back in order for it to shine with its long lost former glory. Crystal Sage extended a hoof. Do we have a deal? Ha ha ha. We do not know why the Crystal Empire returned. Well, did we have any reason why the Crystal Empire returned on its own in the canon story? He could have time traveled to that point, and that could be the first point in history that he makes it return. After defeating Puppet Master, obviously. Yep. That was never said how it returned. However, Celestia knew it had to be guarded right away. Yeah, that's why I thought that how they actually found out that it returned for its own. What if we count this fixture right here? It can be done as him returning to the present or past, I mean future, We are going to the future where Crystal Empire is returning. Saying through the wind, giving a message through the wind to Celestia that I am returning to Crystal Empire right now, send some ponies out here to guard it. If it was someone kept monitoring the area while Crystal Empire was on the scene, that can be as well. Crystal Sage started a little closer. Oh, this is the one. Do we have a deal? I must admit, I was caught up in the moment. I did not fully think things through. Just like the time I got away from home, I acted on the strength of pure emotion and not reason. A guard came into the throne room and said, "Your Majesty, it has returned." Yeah, that can happen. He could have sent a message to someone else. To some pony else who was closer to Princess Celestia. I just... Wait. No, okay, nothing. I was thinking if... the attack of the forest happened later, but it happened later, so nothing. I was thinking there should be a magical barrier outside that doesn't let the wind to go there. I shook his hoof with no hesitation, but only later did it occur to me how much of a commitment I had promised him. What he was requesting would take a lifetime of labor, maybe even more than that. Absolutely, Featherwind said with no hesitation as he reached forward and shook Crystal Sage's hoof. You are my only hope to defeat Puppet Master anyway. But I also sympathize with your loss about the Crystal Empire too, so are those innocent ponies caught in the middle of this? If there is anything I can do within my power to help them, then that alone is worth our partnership. Know this, and know this well, my friend. I am very committed to this task, but I will certainly need your help to pull this off. Thank you, Crystal Sage said with immense relief. You don't know how long I waited to hear someone say that. Explain something to me though, Featherwind prompted. Anything, Crystal Sage gladly invited. Who was that pony that sang the song when I first got in here? At first the Crystal Sage looked taken aback by that question. That immense regret made his expression deeply crestfallen. She was my love. Crystal Sage answered solemnly. Your wife, I take it? No. Crystal Sage spun about and looked out of the window again. It's not that simple between us. I guess you could say we enjoyed each other's company. I, of course, enjoyed her singing, and she, well, I don't know what she ever saw in me. Obviously, it was something. She acted like I gave her such meaning in her life. He sighed and looked down. One thing that depressed me about her, however, was her tendency to put herself down. She didn't see herself. Why is there a space between them? She did not see herself worthwhile. Herself worthwhile? No, I don't think there needs to be a space in here. Another hoof. I saw her as the most precious pony in the world. It annoyed the heck out of me when she put herself down. But at least she felt better in my company. She followed me everywhere like a lost puppy. She even followed me into this place. Crystal Sage gestured about the entire library. This is where I spend most of my life. I read and I read and I read on and on and on. One book after another. It's okay, it means she did not see the worst of herself. It's just strange. Because nobody says herself, myself. It's one word. As you just said it to yourself right now. She herself couldn't read. I offered to teach her, but again, her self-esteem was too low to have confidence in herself for that. And besides, she did not have 1 point. She did have 1 point. I was normally too busy to make serious commitment out of it. While I was willing to teach her, my ability to do it personally was rather limited. Sometimes you keep exposing after my text, as you are expecting more elaboration. Maybe it's just me. No, I'm pausing actually because there's a huge delay between me and you. And I'm not used to it. As you saw in Twitch, it's seriously different. the delay. Even in ultra low latency, there are a lot of time between me saying anything and you saying anything. Not as bad as it used to be. Yeah, because I changed from normal latency to ultra low. But you saw the difference. It's about 10 seconds. But yeah, you know why I'm stopping. I want to see if you write anything else or not. But that's all. While I was willing to teach her, my ability to do it personally was rather limited. I offered to hire a tutor for her, but all she wanted to remain by my side. She even slept here. I don't know how many times I paused in surprise to find her sleeping in the middle of the floor here. Then I would look at her very fondly as I pulled out a blanket. I had just such an occasion. I tucked it around her using my magic. I watched her squirm in comfort. She looked in such an angel as she slept. Then I'm listening why my dog was out. Oh yeah, someone is visiting my mother. That's why they are just barking away. This is definitely not the music. Then, in later years, I remember this one time, I was venturing beyond the Crystal Empire, as I continued my research in discovering the source behind the magic infection in our lands. I closed my eyes as I stood on the high snowy hill. I tried to focus on my horn to sense in which direction the corruption was coming from. But I got disrupted from my concentration as I heard my name called out from behind me. I looked over my shoulder at her. I was stunned to see her galloping towards me naked. No boots, no hat, no jacket. Not even a scarf to protect her. Wow, that could be a little bit different if it was not ponies. I was out there in the winter snow with my enchanted scarf to keep me warm, which looks like the one I'm wearing right now. But she got out to me without with nothing on at all. It was as if she acted on a whim, with no hesitation or preparation. Crystal Sage rose up to his hind legs and stomped his forelegs hard on the ground. I was furious at her for risking her life like that. How dare she risk something so precious in the world? He calmed down, but I couldn't stay mad at her. Despite how intense it was, my anger only lasted a few seconds. It was quickly dissolved by the love I felt for her. Having nothing else on hoof, I teleported my ancient scarf over her. That in turn exposed me to cold, but I could hoof her far better than she could. And besides, I had other tricks up my sleeve that could help. Heat magic. Honestly, I would have felt far more vulnerable if she remained by my side. This happened in the video too, if you recall. Yeah, it did. It would have felt I would have felt far more vulnerable if she remained by my side unprotected. I guess you say, in a way, my love for her kept me warm. But one day, she watched me as I battled my evil counterpart, personally, and she was there to see me lose. She was one of the primary reasons I fought so hard. I had to protect her. So, I just had to, but, despite my best efforts, I still lost. The dark half of me was charged with more magic from the beginning of the fight. It turned out I delayed the problem too long, which gave him the upper hoof in that particular battle, and he knew everything I had, except he was willing to use tactics that I would not. The last thing I remember in life was looking up as I fell down and drowned in that frozen lake, and pain stabbed at my heart, to realize that I failed despite my best efforts. Crystal Sage was shaking at this point of the story, in some rage, but mostly pain and regret. I was so afraid of what he would do to her after I lost. King Sombra knew what I loved. He had my memories up to that point. I was so afraid he would immediately decimate her, but no. He ended up doing something far worse. He ignored her. He just put her in chains like every pony else, like she was no pony special to him at all. He neither tortured her, nor showed her any love. He acted like she was just another face in the crowd. Tears rolled down his eyes as he shook. Her self-esteem was already so fragile. To see her former lover turn into this, it must have shattered her heart. They are making the Togos bark. Just pet them. Come on. I had flash visions of her just occasionally ever since then. Perhaps sent from Sombra to torture me. It was enough to realize she lost her voice. She never spoke again, let alone sang again. The broken heart could not find the strength to lift her angelic voice again. Luckily, we know that broken hearts, or shattered hearts, can be repaired. I mean the crystal heart as well. Crystal Sage collapsed to his knees. Inside this crystal prison, I cried out to her. I cried out so hard, desperate for her to hear my plea, but she had no reason to believe I existed at all anymore. She thought I had been completely consumed by my darker half, and that he was all that was left of her former lover. Father Wind paused his story when he heard his daughter sniffle behind him. Seeing that, he quickly lifted his mist cloak and used it to pull her closer to his side. Just a little closer, little longer, sweetheart. Just a little longer and we will rest for the night. I continue my story tomorrow morning. I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but I was in tears too at the time. Crystal Sage held my sniffers and turned to look at me. Seeing another pony looking at him and actually caring, it helped him calm down a little. I could tell so easily that this was the god of incredible strength and spirit. But nobody enters a loss that severe so easily. Even if he was capable of tears and as well. Of course, it would happen over the loss of somebody he dearly loved. But you will see her again when we bring back the Crystal Empire, won't you? Featherwind asks, hopefully in the past. Maybe that will help her, inspire her to find her voice again. Crystal Sage shook his head. That is impossible. I am just a lingering memory, one that is destined to fade eventually. What I have in mind will guarantee my passage into afterlife once and for all. All in the hopes of bringing back the Crystal Empire. He wiped his tears away as he stood up again. There is one blessing in this situation. She no longer remembers me. What? Featherwind looks sad. How is that a good thing? It is good because she can move on with her life, unburdened by the tragedy of her past. Crystal Sage answered. King Sombra's curse would wipe away all memories of the time before he ruled, if and when the Crystal Ponies returned. It was a security measure of his to help him maintain an upper roof over them, essentially causing them to forget how to rebel against him. That meant she would forget about me as well, and the love we shared. If she can't remember that, maybe she will find her voice again. But love doesn't work like that. You shouldn't forget that love is not coming from this. It's coming from this. However, he looked back at Featherwind. The instant the Empire returns, King Sombra will grow aware of it as well. He stored the bulk of his power there. He need only to return to the castle. If he does, he can bring himself back to life on the stored magic alone. So of course he will aim to bring back the Empire itself first. Since I almost have the same agenda, somebody needs to get the Crystal Empire right away, and defend it with Barrier of Love. If nobody does, King Sombra will immediately slip in and take over. The advantage of working with me is one can be more prepared for the arrival of Crystal Empire. If he does it instead, it will be on his terms, and he will do it using darker magic. In this case, he will either kill you to use your blood to provide his dark rituals, or he will try to take over your body, just like he tried, and succeeded to steal mine. You just cannot let your lover go, Featherwind whined. You complete each other. I died, Featherwind. Not much I can do to change that. When other ponies die in the world, they don't normally get a chance to plan and plot like this from beyond the grave. This crystal and you are my only ears, my eyes and vessel to help perform my plan. What exactly is your plan? Featherwind inquired. The red crystal. It must be charged with abundant amount of life, love, hope, joy and positive emotion. So basically you have to do the same as a Puppet Master but the opposite. Crystal Sage answered. In other words, it must become the Crystal Heart 2.0. It cannot nearly contain that much energy, but it can be enough for my purposes. You see, the Crystal Heart is also trapped in limbo. If the red crystal can be charged with enough positive feelings, then it can create sympathetic feedback loop between itself and the Crystal Heart, which would draw the two closer together like a magnet. And since the Crystal Heart is in the Crystal Empire, it would draw that back to material plane too. Featherwind realized. Crystal Sage, that's brilliant! There are other stages to my plan, but it's better if I inform you later. For now, I test you with the responsibility to gather as much positive energy as you can using the red crystal. The side effect that will also give you the power you need to defeat the backlister inside the Puppet Master, so you have to cooperate with me anyway. So, because he's gathering negative energy, I have to draw a greater amount of positive energy? Featherwind realized. Crystal Sage smiled proudly as he said, Now you are thinking like a Crystal Sage. That is exactly correct. Having a greater amount of energy than the other guy gives you the upper hoof. I have the higher ground, Obi-Wan. You can even wait for him to dump of that energy to King Sombra, as he leaves to gather more energy to replace it. That's when you smack him down to finish him for good. Then poof, no more errand boy for King Sombra. What about Sombra himself? We will have to deal with him and all of that gathered energy as well. Featherwind pointed out, one step at a time. Crystal Sage encouraged with a cautious raise of hoof. If you follow through with my plan. He replaces hoof with of the ground. You can deal with each villain one by one instead of taking them both at once. Even one of those ponies will be formidable enough as it is. I don't want to push you too hard, so it's better if you follow through with my plan. Crystal Sage approached closer. King Sombra does not know you are working for me. He doesn't know that there is some pony out there that is acting with a pony, who knows how he thinks. This will give us a tactical edge, considering how powerful the both are. I figured we could use every advantage we can. And I can hear in the distance King Sombra's voice. Fools, I can hear everything. I know everything you say. Because crystals. I won't let you down. Great Grandpa times 15 or so. Featherwind said as he approached and embraced Crystal Sage. Together we will cleanse the stain of our family history for good. I truly wish I did not live to burden you with this task. Crystal Sage said solemnly, I will do everything in my power to help you. I can tell you from personal experience that I felt a lot of power from that huge hug he gave. It was filled with such intense warmth, conviction, power, and spirit. I realized I could easily see him as a mentor. But I also realized that as my love and respect for him grew, so too did fear and fear his counterpart. The more Crystal Sage proved how powerful and resourceful and intelligent he was, the more I realized his evil side would be as well. That made a strange mixture of fear, love, and respect. In the case, definitely a pony worth paying attention to. And this is the music. This is not the music that you can hear right now. But here's the author's note. I wrote this story first, but there was a music I encountered on Pandora's first, and later found out on YouTube. That thing does a good job replicating the feeling of this chapter, in particular haunting feelings of how Crystal Sage described the loss of his love. This meant to be a true ghost story, but more was sad and tragic one rather than outright scary. And with this song Val communicates the feeling of tragic loss, but there also has a more hopeful end to the sound, which I also feel foreshadows the relationship well. It gives us. It kind of gives that. I found a little bit of typo. Bittersweet sense of hope. Can you send me the link to it, by the way, on Discord? Because with this you can see I need to do stuff. Because it sounds like it thinks that an embedded thing, and I can't just open up the YouTube link. Thank you. Stop. Let's open it up. It's 4 minutes long? Wow, okay. Okay, now I'm gonna stop this music. And mute myself, my audio. There you go. And I can put this back. Sent. Yeah, it's already up here, as you can see. So are you ready to listen to this? We are not gonna listen to this all. 2 hours. Oh yeah, we were here for 2 hours. That's fine. So let's start this in 3, 2. You can see my hand. 3, 2, 1, now. I can pull up the line here. Is it just instrumental, by the way? No, it's not. Yeah, I definitely can play this on YouTube. That's for sure. It's too much of a great song for that. I have a feeling I might have heard this song before. Yeah, I think I heard this before. I didn't know what it is from. But it's a nice song. That's for sure. Okay, let's stop this. It's an amazing song. I've heard this before. I definitely heard this before. Let me put some music back here, so you will not hear the nothingness right here. I sadly can't play this on YouTube. It's probably copyrighted. Probably definitely copyrighted. Let's just say it like that. And yeah, we are at the end. We finished chapter 16. Fitting the mood of the chapter. I think it fits perfectly well. I think it fits perfectly how the Crystal Sage is telling his story. Definitely. But yeah, the problem is a little bit with this, that it has lyrics. Obviously you can't read while lyrics is on the tab as well. That's the only problem with it. But it, as a song itself, it's really fitting for it. And chapter 17 is gonna be as long as this. I was actually right. Look at that. I was right that Sombra's other self is gonna be in the jam. I thought it was gonna be a Jin form. Then play it on YouTube because you muted it. Yeah, I know. I muted it. I can't play it. That's why I muted it. I'm sorry about that, but I just can't play that right there. Okay. Well, you can hear a lot of drilling noise right now. So apparently this chapter is the least viewed of all of them. It's popular. I don't know why. Why? It's a really good story. I would say it's the third best chapter so far. And at the end of this I will make a top 5 I think of what I like the best. Will for you. But for now I think it's the third best. Finally got most of your answers about the red crystal. Yep. And I like that thing that you said. It's gonna be the second. This is how Starbreeze is gonna cast magic. It's not just the normal magic, but she's gonna implant it in her horn. In her head as a horn. Maybe you can finish the Song of Line. I will, don't worry about that. But yeah. I have no problems with this chapter at all. It's a really good chapter. And I only have this problem that they are drilling right outside of me because they are putting a picture up. So that's why they opened up my door to alert me. Look forward to hearing that. And I have to tell you, tomorrow I'm not gonna be able to stream, but the day after tomorrow I can do it. I can do chapter 17. I'm not saying I'm not able to stream, but I will not able to read out loud at least at this point, because I will probably just come home from work and just die in the bed. So the day after tomorrow is gonna be fine for you, probably, hopefully. And because I don't really want you to hear this drilling, I'm gonna finish up really fast. Obviously, because they are starting to get loud. It's not really loud, but what did you think of Crystal Sage? The sort of new character in the story. I have no problems with them. I thought how I would expect the Crystal Sage would be. So yes, one of my theories in the beginning was that Sombra itself, the only good part of Sombra would be there. And I was right. A lot of other theory was it's a guardian for another pony, but no, it was King Sombra himself. He doesn't like being called King Sombra, but he is Sombra himself. So he will have to accept it at some point. Share about what you said about next time. Okay. And yeah, he had all the time to be sluggish. He still planned ahead, but he didn't plan too much ahead because he was too much under his sorrow. He actually gave up at some point, probably. But yeah, are you doing more P5 streaming? A little bit later. I'm gonna wait until they stop drilling. I'm probably gonna help them. This time made a breakout from him. That makes sense to me. For instance, the fact that he was Crystal before. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That was not mentioned anywhere. So yes, that makes a lot of sense. That he would be the Crystaller. He is the Crystal Pony after all. And the part that he actually built, or at least helped building the Crystal Empire itself. It makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that he was the one who made the barrier around with the crystals. Later! Have a good play! Have a good game, Dice, by the way. And my dog wants to come in. I hear her scratching the door right now. So I think I'm gonna end it right here, and I'm gonna help the others right now, and I don't know, day after tomorrow it's when I'm gonna go. So see you later, I guess. Bye bye. Also tomorrow I'm gonna release the next episode of my opponent because it's available now. But now I'm leaving. Goodbye.